97, 98, 99, 100. Woo! Hey, gun people. Just doing my little more. Oh, I didn't do 100, you big freaking crybabies. He didn't do 100. He just shut up. Freaking, I can't. All right, let's talk about this. Where's my coffee? Let's talk about shooting somebody. Woo, Rick, you can't say that. Look, I'm telling you, people, I see these comments, and this is basically going back to that video I just did on the IHOP, where the guy was running around hitting everybody with a freaking frying pan, where evidently, and I didn't go back and check, I don't care, evidently it was two women or a lesbian couple instead of a man and a husband. I don't, whatever. I mean, I blocked more damn people in that video, people coming here being jerks about, don't you pay attention, don't you watch, you suck, you can't even tell a woman from, you're right, I can't tell a woman from a man. And if I call a woman a man and woman, somebody's going to get upset because I didn't tell them what bathroom to use. So, whatever. Anyway, that video, guy running around, I had a lot of questions about, could I shoot him? Somebody asked me would I draw my gun. Man, this is such, and this might turn into a long video, people, I'll just tell you right now. I'm going to cover a lot of things, but I think it's going to be advantageous to you to understand where I'm coming from when I say this, and this might save you a lot of grief in the long run. So, when people ask me, can I use deadly force in this situation? Could I shoot somebody? Would that be deadly force? Because I say yes or no is my opinion based on my experience, and I'll be honest, I probably have a more pro-gun opinion on things than most people you're going to get on a jury. If you went around everywhere you went, today, just think, if I walk around everywhere, I'm going to take a poll in every restaurant or every group of people, and I'm going to ask, who thinks our gun laws are too restrictive? And who thinks they're not restrictive enough? I think, and I'm in Texas, and I think I would get a whole bunch more people saying they're not restrictive enough. The media and the liberal left and people that want to use fear to control people have done a great job in YouTube censorship and Google censorship and the media censorship on all the good things that come out of gun ownership. They've been preaching it for so long that the majority of people think guns are the problem, and if we only had more restrictions, it'd be safe. So, when you ask me my opinion on something, you're not going to have me on a jury. I mean, I can make you feel good and go, hell yeah, Captain, put a bullet in his head. I can say that, but that ain't helping you. I mean, it's easy to get out here and give people great advice that'll get them in prison, but I got no skin in the game. It's almost like an attorney. An attorney's got no skin in the game when he defends you. He's getting paid whether he loses or wins. His paycheck is not dependent on whether he does a good job or a bad job. He gets paid either way. If he misses something, if he's crappy, if he's really great, he gets paid the same. So there's not a lot of skin in the game for an attorney. The only skin in the game for an attorney is his ego, which why it attracts a lot of egomaniacs is they want to win. And they want to manipulate the system, and they want to think they're smarter, and they want to think they know more. So let's talk about when can you shoot somebody. Now most of you know that it's pretty simple. You have to show you're in fear of your life and you're protecting yourself or others. That's pretty much it. If you can't say that, you can't do it. Now, you're not protecting them from getting punched in the face. You can't say I was protecting someone else from getting punched. I was protecting someone from getting kicked in the nuts. I was protecting someone from getting a freaking titty twister. You can't say I was protecting them and shoot them. So, look, do I think that guy that was running around and I'll try if I remember. I never remember putting links, people. I mean, I'm sorry. I got a lot of shit. I do this fucking because I like it and because I enjoy it and because I got good viewers that I really want to help. I don't do this as a full-time professional where I'm getting people reading my emails and scanning and answering my comments and scheduling me for events and freaking paying me all this money. I don't do that. So if you want to come here and cry like idiots that were crying on that video, I'll just block your ass. I don't want to hear your shit. If you wouldn't say it to my face, you ain't saying it to me in the comments. So when you make a comment, you better make a comment like you're talking to me like a fucking man in my face, and that you better be responsible for what you're saying. Otherwise, I'm going to boot your ass out, just like I would if you were in my face. So we'll just get to that right now. But anyway, I digress. Let's get back to shit that you need to know and need to understand and fully understand. I've done several videos on don't talk to the cops. And I always get the cop lovers that come here, and the ex-cops and the new cops and the old cops that think all cops are great coming here telling me, how dare you be in law enforcement and tell people not to cooperate? We're the good guys and they should always talk. You're a freaking idiot. The only time I wanted somebody to talk to me was when I wanted information that helped me. Rarely did I ask somebody to talk to me to help them. It was to help me and my job, to help my goal, to help catch somebody, to put somebody in prison, to get a bad guy off the road, to get a bad guy to incriminate himself so I could get him off the road. That's why I talk to people as a cop. Now these other cops can tell you, oh no, we get up in the morning, put on our bulletproof vest, badge, and gun, and go out there just to make friends. Because it ain't freaking true. So when you understand, when you talk to a cop, you are giving government information they can use against you. But Rick, if I just say thanks for your service, how can that hurt me? Well, you know what? It could make you a freaking witness. It could make you freaking DNA down the road. It could be that this guy was a mass killer and he just, I mean, believe me, there are so many cases that people think that nothing could have connected them, or how could any. And I remember this one case in YOLO, and I think they did a TV show about it on one of these crime specials or whatever. We got this guy convicted because of a serial number on an oil can that was on a car that he used to block the accelerator with an oil can that drove it in and killed somebody or hit the body. I can't remember the details of the case. But it was that serial number that we tracked to where it was bought, where it was shipped, and then we found another can that was in the same lot that connected him. And that's how law enforcement can connect the littlest thing. Who would think that an oil can would get somebody convicted because he had another oil can in his garage and that was the one that was found and it was able to match up the lot numbers? I mean, little things like that trip people up. A receipt from a jack-in-a-box that we end up getting, we find in a car or in the trash, and we end up getting video evidence from that jack-in-a-box that put you there and you lied and said you weren't there, or you were at home all night, or you were somewhere else. So anything you say, believe me, somehow can get twisted, turned around, and used against you. I mean, it's right there in the Miranda rights. Miranda, remember, Miranda came about because cops were badgering and getting, it wasn't like the medieval times where they put you on a rack till you confess. Then when you confess, they burned you for being a witch. It wasn't quite that bad, but it was just a little bit further. Cops badgered you, locked you in a room, no water, hit you with a phone book, hit you with a cord, whatever, until you confessed. Well, then Miranda came about and says, hey, you got to tell a guy he has a right to remain silent. You have to tell him he has a right to a lawyer, and you have to let him know that well, actually, Miranda didn't come out with the affirmative. But there's a thing about what Miranda writes about waiving and whether it's, what's the term I'm thinking of? You can invoke your rights or you can waive your rights. And if you waive it, you can waive it, I think, affirmatively, meaning if I say, I waive my Fifth Amendment rights, I want to talk to you. Let's talk. That's an affirmative waiving of your rights. I think that's the right term. Now, an implied waiver is you never say I invoke my Fifth, you never mention the Fifth, you never mention a lawyer, you just be a nice guy because you want to cooperate. And you talk to the police and go, hey, how you doing? Yeah, were you there? No, man, I wasn't there. I didn't have anything to do with that. Can you answer a few questions for me? Sure, man, I'm a good law-abiding citizen. I like you police. All you guys are heroes. You never hurt anybody and you're always Johnny on the spot helping people. So now that's what's called an implied waiver. I didn't invoke, therefore it's implied that I gave a voluntary statement. When you call 911, that is an implied waiver. You know 911 is recording, you know you're calling the government, and you voluntarily give them information and talk to them. And you have a choice to hang up. It's not like government's got you locked in a room when they're doing an interview and interrogate you. No, 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 no. You call 911 and you give a voluntary implied that you are waiving your right to remain silent, or you're waiving your right to give any information that can be used against you. And the Miranda rights, it says, anything you say can and will be used against you. I mean, they make it clear. The courts made it so clear that the lowest dumbed down, two-sailed idiot could figure out that, you know what? If I talk, they're probably going to use that against me and screw me. It's probably not a good idea. But everyone talks. I don't get it. Everyone freaking talks. I mean, I do get it. It's a nervous thing. You want to tell your side of the story. You think you did nothing wrong. You think you're right. You think you were justified. And you don't have nothing to hide. And good people were brought up. If you don't have nothing to hide, you know, it doesn't matter. And I say that all the time. Those who have nothing to hide, hide nothing. These people that run around secretly and all that. And I've got a lot of crooks that I knew were guilty. And they took the fifth. And I knew they were guilty, and I knew they knew the law, and I knew they were taking the fifth because I knew if they answered any of my questions that it would just prove that they were even more guilty than I already knew they were. So I get it. But understanding the difference between invoking your rights or waiving your rights. And that waiver can be implied. It doesn't have to be affirmative. I waive my rights. Let's talk, officer. Hey, we want to talk to you. You want to talk to us? We're the police. We're going to use everything against you. Anything you say, we're going to twist. We can spin and we can put it in our own words, and we get to write the reports. And when we testify, who do you think they're going to believe? The shiny cop in the badge or the suit that swears under oath, that out there saving the public, that they're going to read this great, grand, he's not been arrested and he's got all these certificates and training? Are they going to believe him? Are they going to believe you, who's accused of a crime? You, who the government invested all this money that we're going to convict you and send you to? Who do you think they're going to believe? And you, who probably aren't even going to take the stand because your lawyer's going to say, it's probably going to be no good. If you take the stand, they're going to use it against you. So you get to sit there, you don't get to say a freaking word. The government gets to bring in all the experts and all the cops and everybody to say what you said and what you did and what you didn't say and how you said it and how you inferred and how you implied and how you stumbled and how you changed your story, because we interviewed you 3 times and nobody will give the same statement 3 times if I ask you complex questions. You would, if I make you elaborate in any way, shape, or form, you will change your statement every time I interview. That's the good skill of an interviewer. When I used to re-interview people, because the agencies on the road would take a statement and they're cops and they just want to get done with it. So they take a quick statement. Oh yeah, he admitted, yeah, okay, great, here you go. I'll give it to the detectives, let them figure it out. So I would have to go back before court and try to get a better statement. I would have to try to clear up things that the cop didn't ask. I would have to try to get you to elaborate on things that would help and make our case stronger. That was my job. Now, I was out there to get the truth. I didn't want you to tell me shit that wasn't true. But a good investigator can re-interview somebody when a lazy, incompetent, or somebody under the gun, working a lot, busy, tired, whatever. A good investigator can come back and make that statement much stronger, much more usable in court, and much more convincing to a lawyer. Not because he's crooked, only because he knows how to pull out those facts and get you to articulate. So, vice versa. If I want to convict your ass, I can ask you questions and get you to agree, or just ask you closed-ended questions. You know, give a long statement at the end, throw in a little question, and then I get to write the statement, you know. Isn't it, hey guy, I get it, man. You're a citizen, you're a taxpayer, you got a concealed permit, you're a Second Amendment guy. Man, I love you guys. You guys are great. I'm the government. I'm here to help you. When you shot this guy, did you think about your prior training? Did you think about, you know, the use of force, on whether it was necessary, whether it was intimate? Did all that run through your mind? Hell no, I was scared. I just shot. Okay, great. That may sound like a good statement. Well, it shows he was fearful, Rick. Who has time to think about all that? It doesn't look good. I can spin that and turn that around. So just because a cop, if you talk to government, and even if the cop doesn't want to use it that way, let's say I'm really serious when I say that, and I ask you that question, and I write it up. When the DA reads it, he may go, oh man, I'm going to have a field day with this. It may not even be the cop that interviewed you. That's why when you talk to government, you give this whole line of government a chance to screw you. And you also lock down your attorney and your defense on what he can argue. Because now he's working against your statement. I mean, ask any attorney, would I rather defend a client who said nothing, or would I rather defend a client who gave a really good statement? They're going to say, I want the guy that said nothing. Because I can get his really good statement in later, and I can make it even better, and I can ensure that we don't say something that can incriminate him or the case. So, I mean, I just don't understand how people don't get talking to government is a bad thing. And I really don't understand why cops get offended by that. I mean, it's just part of the job. I didn't get offended if you took the fifth. It made me work a little harder sometime. I would have to go dig up information that it would have been easier. It's easy to get a conviction with a confession. It's easier to get a conviction when I have a statement that I can tear down, that I can discredit, that I can prove that he lied or gave a mistruth, or if he misspoke, or if he changed his statement. That makes my case much easier to prove. Now, my main goal was to get convictions. I could give a shit whether you got I mean, at first, I felt bad when I lost a case, and it was like, oh man, I should have done better. That guy went free. I'm not doing my job. I feel bad. I should be better. Later on, it's like, I watch these attorneys whittle away and do these backdoor deals, and the judge knows the defense attorney, so he gets a sweetheart deal. The judge knows the DA, so he gets a hard-ass, trial where he's slamming it. I mean, I've seen all the bullshit, and after a while, it's like, I don't give a shit who gets convicted and who doesn't. I'm doing the best job I can. I'm going to lay out the best case I can to where they can't come back on me and say, you didn't do this or you did this wrong. That's how I did my cases. I tried to get the best case I could, get to the truth, and then I let the powers that be figure it out, because it was way, I didn't have any control over that. The only control I had over is what I did, what I testified to, and how I did my job. That's it. Because once the DAs and the defense attorneys and the judges and the shrinks and the freaking this specialist and that specialist get involved, it's all mud and water to confuse the jury. That's why, to my point, if I still have you, if I didn't lose you, if I lost you, you're going to miss the best part of the video. And I say the best, not for me, the best that will probably protect you. Can you shoot somebody in type A, B, or C situation? Let's say the answer is unequivocally 100% yes. Man, you are clear-cut. The law's behind you. You're in fear. It was at night. You're a little old lady with one arm, and you got 14 guys coming at you. And let's say 100% you give me A, B, or C situation. I say, absolutely, you can shoot them. Man, it's not whether you can. It's what happens if you do. That's the factor that people kind of miss. I mean, look, I'm not for promoting victims, and I'm not for saying don't stand your ground and being a victim to freaking idiots. But if you and I'm telling you, people, I could have shot and killed so many freaking people in my life, I have no idea the number. But it's so freaking easy. That's why I get so offended when these pussies are... That one black cop that shot that little skinny white girl with a pair of scissors that was being crazy. That was a really egregious shooting at me, because that cop was just a freaking pussy. I mean, he didn't get... And I know these cops are, well, the 21-foot rule, and you've never been there, Rick, and she could have stabbed him through his vest. She wasn't strong enough to get through a vest, much less, probably not even strong enough to get the freaking knife to me. If I can't take a knife away from a crazy freaking maniac that's on freaking alcohol, fighting me, that weighs 100 pounds and looked like she was maybe 40, 50 years old, I mean, come on, people. That shooting was so bullshit to me. Was it justified? Yes. Did the guy get charged? No. And see, all the cops who support him will be saying, rah, rah, rah. See, Rick, you don't know what you're talking about. You said he shouldn't have shot him, and look, it's justified. Big freaking deal. What the courts decide does not matter. What matters to you when you decide to use deadly force is your life for the next fucking year or 2 years or 10 years. Because, I mean, it's going to be living hell. Just because you can shoot somebody, dude, you have no idea of the wrath of the government that comes down on you. Cops are going to be there. When was the last time cops showed up? And I know it does happen very, very rarely. When was the last time we saw videos where the cops showed up to where a citizen shot somebody and they were like, good job, here's your gun, have a nice night. We think it's pretty much justified. That just doesn't happen. It should happen. I mean, I got no problem with, if I got a good citizen who lives in a community, who has a home, he's got a job, he gets in a shooting, he wasn't doing nothing wrong, he's leaving work, a guy tries to rob him and he shoots him. I got no problem sending him home at night. I don't need to arrest him. I don't need the courts to tell me that he should be out on bail. I can do my freaking report. He's not a flight risk. He's got a family, he's got kids, he's got a home. He's not going to run. There's no reason for me to arrest him. I could just as easily do my report, defer it to the DA, and the DA go, hey, okay, we're going to charge him or we're not going to charge him. If we charge him, we're going to do an arrest warrant. We're going to have him turn himself just like they do with cops. Cops never get arrested on the scene. It always comes out weeks or months later, and the DA says, oh, you have 24 hours to turn yourself in. Here's my attorney, and contact my attorney. My attorney's an officer of the court. He'll turn you in, and we'll set bail, and we'll have everything set up, and it becomes nice and easy. Why can't we do that to regular citizens? See, people think I'm against cops when I'm really against fairness. What I'm against is the system protecting the system. I'm against cops protecting cops. You people are watching and watching my videos, and maybe I'm guilty of it, and getting you this mindset. You people think that because cops do something, if I was in that same situation, I could do it too. Man, that just ain't freaking so. It should be. It's wrong that it isn't, but it ain't reality. Cops don't get charged. Cops don't get arrested. Cops don't get their life turned upside down. Cops don't have to pay legal because they're connected to the government. The government protects government, and they're not going to get charged. The DA isn't going to come after them like they come after you. It's damn hard to get a DA to go after cops. And a DA will tell you, well, the reason I don't go after police is it's very hard to get a conviction because the public doesn't like to convict cops. Well, I don't know what freaking public he's talking to. I got no freaking problem convicting a dirty cop. None. Zero. And I was a cop for fucking over 30 years, so don't give me this shit about, oh, the public doesn't want to convict cops. You don't want to go against government because you're going to piss off the chief. You're going to piss off the supervisor. Somebody's going to like the guy. You got all these backdoor deals and government working together, and the system will break down if we don't work together. We got to work together to keep these pesky citizens under control. So, I still haven't got to the major point yet. I'm getting there, people. It's a path. Okay, it's a process, not an event. If you go to trial and you are right, your life is so screwed. I mean, you're not sleeping, you're not eating, your whole life is upside down, you're worried about going to jail, you're worried about, is this going to go your way, you're worried about who the jury is, you're worried about if your attorney's going to do a good job or not a good job, you're worried about, is your attorney working on 14 cases and yours at the same time? Because he is. Is he billing you and billing other people? Yeah. Are you spending a lot of money and you have no control over what's going to happen in court? You don't get to go in and talk to the judge. You don't get to talk to the DA to try. I mean, look, if you shoot somebody, people, your biggest fear is the courts and the government. You may think, well, Rick, it's better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6. Well, I'm telling you, in some cases, it's a close call. Now, you got to make that decision, and when you carry a gun, you need to know that. But would I have pulled my gun on that guy running around a store? Somebody asked me that in the comments, and I said, I don't think so. I mean, look, I always have a gun. I'm always armed. I've been armed shit since I was 17. I mean, I went in the Air Force 17 and was a cop was carrying a gun around. So, I mean, I have been armed since I was 17 carrying guns around. And I haven't shot anybody in all these freaking years, and I'm 60 now. So, I'm telling you people, if you shoot somebody, your life is over as you know it, at least for a year or two till you go to trial, maybe for 20 years if you go to prison. There's this one attorney, I think in Arizona, I forgot his name, man, and he made a good comment on somebody sent me a video, and I kind of watched through it real quick and just jumped through it. And he made a comment, he goes, about plea deals, and this is very true. Why are most cases dealt in plea deals? Because people are stupid, you should never take a plea deal. Man, that's easy to say, and I've said it, and I would say it under certain circumstances. But people take a plea deal because the alternative is lots of time in prison. If you get convicted, and I don't know if Texas has a mandatory sentencing for guns. A lot of states, because of this constant attack on gun and gun owners, they are making rules. And I remember when this first came out in California, they charged a cop. California came out with a 5-year enhancement if you commit any crime while armed or with a gun. 5-year enhancement. Automatically, non-negotiable, the judge can't do it. You got 5 years to any crime. If you're armed and you pick up a candy bar and you pay for one and don't pay for the other and walk out the store, you get 5 years mandatory because you had a gun on when you stole that candy bar. So, I mean, it's just crazy. If you litter with a gun and the government wants you, you committed a crime while armed, they can go after you 5 years automatically, no questions asked. You got a gun. They don't even really have to prove you guilty of the crime. They just got to prove that you were armed when you committed a crime, whether or not you get proven guilty or not. Now, I say that, but maybe there's some speculation you got to be convicted of the preceding crime that caused you to do it. That would make sense, but I don't give government a whole lot for sense. So when you get into mandatory sentences with guns, and this constant attack on citizens with guns, people are like, gun control, well, you know, I can carry a gun, now I got constitutional carry. That doesn't matter if they have 500 laws that are going to send your ass to prison the first time you use that gun. There's people in Australia and England that tell me all the time in the comments, if I stop a guy from robbing me, I get charged with aggravated assault. I get charged with a crime if a guy breaks into my house and robs me. That's how government gets control. That's how government makes you dependent on their government protection. Because those who protect you are the ones that you depend on. And you don't want to lose that. And then I can extort you for more taxes and money and everything else if I know you're scared. And fear is the greatest motivator in the world, and it's worked for years, and it's going to continue to work throughout time. Because that's just the way it is. And if you think fear isn't a motivator, you need to think about, before you pull that gun and shoot somebody, is this really worth years of my life either fighting this and possibly losing? Back to what that Arizona attorney said about plea bargains. There was some stat out there, and when I was working, it was the same thing. You know, most people think that. That's why a lot of cops don't go to trial. I mean, there's a lot of cops that do their 20, 30-year career, and they've never been in front of a jury. Never! And some cops go, well, I've been in front of 3 juries. Big freaking deal. 3 juries? Really? You got 27 years? I mean, I know CHP guys, they all retire. They've never been in front of a freaking jury. They go to their little traffic tickets. That's all they do is write traffic tickets, and they just think they're the greatest thing in the world. They're the great cops of the world. So, I mean, and there's a lot of cops that retire that's never written a search warrant. And the cops who never written a search warrant go, search warrant, they're easy. I've never written one, but I've never had to. I've always found a way around it. I've never needed it. When you hear cops talking like that, they haven't really worked the system. They don't understand how the tentacles of government get so when you're doing warrants and when it's being challenged and when you get it in there and when a judge question, the defense question, you have to justify your warrant and you have to defend that in front of a jury and they make you look like shit. And you don't get all that till you experience it a few times. So those who have never been to court running around with a gun, and I had a lot of people saying I'd have shot that dude. I'd have emptied my freaking gun on him. Dude, with that mindset, you are going to be in prison. Well, goddamn it, I'm a patriot, and this is my right, and I have a right to that. Look, I get it, people. You're not going to find a more pro-Second Amendment guy than me. But I'm telling you, if you use your gun and there's any if, and, buts, or coconuts on whether you should, woulda, coulda, did it wrong, might have done it, belief was wrong, assessed the situation wrong, didn't know all the facts, missed some facts. If there's any way that you could be convicted, the DA is going to get to give you some freaking sweetheart plea deal, and you're going to jump on it. And like I said, the stat out there, I want to say it's like 90 to 97% of all cases are plea bargains. They don't go to trial. Why? Because if you're facing a possible 20 years, are you going to roll the dice with a jury and do 20 years if a DA comes down and goes, if you plead guilty and we don't have to go to trial, I'll let you off with probation. But you got to plead guilty to felony. You can never carry a gun again. You'll be a convicted felon. You'll lose your Second Amendment rights, but you won't go to prison. You'll just get probation. How's that for a deal, Mr. Pesky Second Amendment tax-paying citizen who thinks he knows the law? You like deals? How's that deal? You like apples? How do you like those apples? Okay, I'm telling you people, that's what happens. The DAs know they have nothing to lose by going to court. As a matter of fact, they get less caseload because now they got a trial. When a DA gets a trial going to court, his caseload is cut back because he's got to prepare for trial. And preparing for trial, I've got to get witnesses, I got to get them subpoenaed, I got to make sure my evidence is in the line, I got to get my logbook, I got to know what evidence I'm introducing, I got to discover all my evidence to the defense within a certain amount of time. If I get new evidence, I got to make sure the defense gets it before the trial. So it's a lot of work for the government to go to trial. And everybody knows the government loves to work hard and earn their money, right? So who do you think the DA? You think the DA wants to go to trial? No. Even if they know they're going to win, they usually don't want to go to trial because it's a lot of work. Now, if they know they're going to win, their plea deal isn't going to be as sweet. But I'm telling you, dude, if you're facing probation, guaranteed, no prison, that's 100% guaranteed. That's good money. Bird in the hand's worth two in the bush. Guaranteed probation, roll the dice. You got a great case. Let's say you got a 90% chance of winning, which ain't going to happen. Let's say you got 80%, ain't going to happen. At most, I think any attorney will probably give you is maybe 60, 50%, not very high. Hell, maybe they'd only give you 40. You never know. I think you roll the dice 50%. When you go in front of a jury, it's 50-50. You never know how it's going to go. Are you going to take 50-50 odds of going to prison for 15, 20 years versus 100% guarantee you won't go to prison, you lose your Second Amendment right, you're a convicted felon, and you get probation for 2 years, 3 years, whatever. Whatever they want to give it to you. Not going to prison for a good citizen, which most gun-carrying people are. If you're lawfully carrying a gun, you're probably a pretty good, decent person. I mean, not in the liberals' eyes, you're an evil, white-wing conspiracy, you want to take power away from the government, whatever. But in my eyes, most people that carry guns are good guys. If they're not criminals, I'm talking about legally carrying guns. Now, what are you going to do? Now ask me again, hey Rick, man, I pulled out my gun and shot that guy in the head. Really? Are you really going to shoot a guy because he hit a lady with a pot of coffee? You're going to shoot and use deadly force, and you're going to justify that you were in fear of your life and her life, and you're going to put your life, your next 20 years of your life, in the hands of a jury that hasn't been picked yet, in the hands of a prosecutor that would love to get some Second Amendment dude in a conviction, in the hands of a defense attorney that may or may not be good. You're going to give your entire life to all these people so you can say, man, I had a gun, I'd have capped that dude as soon as he freaking did that. I would have took him out. Dude, man, you people need to wake up and live in reality world. When you make these decisions, you get the consequences, and the consequences suck with our government. They are not gun friendly. They are not good citizen friendly. They don't care if you're a good, hard-working, tax-paying citizen. They don't care. That's the problem with our system. Our politicians have diluted any type of moral compassion, honesty. Again, I've already told you, we give no benefit to being honest in our society. Zero. If you tell the truth, you get no better deal. You get a worse deal. You make it easier for them to send you to prison more or to give you a worse plea deal if you're honest. Don't talk to the cops. And if you got to shoot somebody, it better be your own resort. Don't think you can do what these cops do and get away with it. I don't think the cops should get away with it, but I can damn well guarantee you, you won't get away with it. Just my take. If you already left, I think you missed something, because this ought to be an eye-opener for people that are out there talking about, I'd have pulled out my gun and shoot. Man, look, again, I'll say it. I could have shot I don't know how many people, and probably would have been legal, and probably would have got protection from the government. One, I'd have to live with it. Two, I don't want to roll the dice with the government. I don't even care if I'm in government. I don't want to roll the dice with the government. When I roll the dice for the government, it's going to be on my terms. I know what the risk is, and it's going to be go time. And Genghis Khan was a pussy compared to the wrath that I will come down when I decide that it's time. But I'm telling you, if it ain't time, and it ain't if it's not the incident of a lifetime, that this is it, this is the time to make a stand, I know I'm going to prison or I'm dying. If it ain't that time, man, you better think twice before you pull out and use that gun. All right, we'll go ahead and end that there. Hopefully you got something out of it.